Hey, how's everybody doing? This is probably gonna be a quick one. I'll start off, even though I didn't put it first. I'll start off with the glitch. Uh, this has happened before, and I may have actually solved it. So if you are playing Minecraft on the Xbox, the Bedrock version, and this might apply to Bedrock across the board. I don't know. I'm on the Xbox. Um, I lost all my gear. I got a couple things back. Like I got, and so far I haven't gotten them. But I got my buckets back. I had six of them. One of them is still in use. I think I got all my coal back. I think I got all my charcoal back. And I think I didn't get my sticks back, but I got my planks and my logs. Everything else pretty much was lost. And I even had to. I don't even think I got my any of my diamond tools back. I think I got my armor back. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think I did get my armor back. But what happened was, uh, the game just crashed. And it's done it before. Well, when it did it before, I looked it up and it said, oh, well, reinstall your game. So I did that. And it still wanted to act up a little bit after that, but then it was good for a while. So I thought maybe they fixed it. Um, but what happened was, and I will go back, bear with me, I will go back to where I actually was. And hopefully I'll show you that it's not doing it now, because this was doing this yesterday. Um, I ended up going to bed early. I wasn't a rage quit. It was a depressed quit, but it wasn't a rage quit. I worked to get my armor back. I worked to get my sword. I needed my sword. I'll explain to you what happened, but stick with me on this because the UFO news I got, I just saw it, and I think it's important. But I do want to go over this glitch, and it's why I probably won't. I might have a stream tomorrow. I don't know, but I'm not going to do any major streams. Like I could do a fishing stream because I still got all my shit for that. But I just am not going to do any big streams because right now, if I'm busy talking and something happens, I literally don't have much. I can't. I can't really go and attack too much. I can't cut down trees. I can't farm until I start getting my tools back. I can't. And but oh my god, and I came real close to uninstalling and reinstalling, but I'll tell you what the fix is in a minute, and it hasn't crashed since. And while I was trying to get everything back, I think I was on for at least a hour after that, and didn't have one crash ever since. Uh, and I play a couple other games, like I still play Diablo 3, I play Diablo 4. And you guys have seen it. I've streamed for like an hour or more. It only seems to be an issue with Minecraft. So I don't think it's an Xbox thing. I think it's a Minecraft thing. And I don't know for sure, but I suspect that it's got to do with that auto replay or whatever it is. And I looked it up, and it sounds like they know there's an issue because there was talk that you can shut it off temporarily, like that. I was looking for a way to just shut it off because I'm like, I don't care if it takes a little longer to run, if it's going to create a more stable environment where I don't have to lose all my shit because of this. Um, the I don't mean this. I'm kind of half joking, not half joking, half not. But please write your elected officials and try and get assisted suicide legalized. Because really, I mean, I'll be honest with you. The only thing I really got going for me is like, Minecraft. There's a whole lot I can't do right now. There'd be a little bit more I could do if I hadn't have broken my ankle, but there's a lot I can't do. Even if I was healthy like I was before I broke my. There's still a lot I can't do. Uh, and then this shit is fucking up. I don't know, and it's a relatively new thing, so I think it's got to do with an update. Well, what it was is I snagged some of my golems and I put them in the dunking tank to get some iron, and then I came all the way back over here. And I got somewhere in here, and then this is where the game crashed. And I almost quit playing until today because it was, I was getting tired. I wasn't feeling 100%. In some ways, I feel better. In some ways, I don't feel as good as yesterday, today. And this might be part of it. I don't know. But I figured, oh man, there's nothing here. I got everything lit up for, blocks and blocks around. I'm like, yeah, there's no problem. Well, I ended up restarting. And then when it restarted, I think it spawned me right in here and it told me I had been killed by a drowned. And I'm like, what the fuck? There's no fucking way. And I'm thinking, man, there ain't even like water nearby. You gotta go a pretty good hike. Well then, and again, this is something that should have taken me like 5 seconds if I was healthy. But with what happened to me when I was working at General Motors, it takes me longer. Well, what happened is it didn't it didn't log anything after this, so it basically put me back here, and then I died by the drowned in the either here or in the Nether. It was not a good spot. I don't know if I died over there or died over here, but I looked and there was nothing in here. 'Cause at first I checked here and I'm like, well, okay, I didn't die here. So then I was trying to figure out, because there's been old glitches where when you would log back in, it would drop you through blocks, and I thought, well, maybe I ended up down somewhere. But then I'm like, well, still drowned means there should have been a water source. And what happened was when I finally got a few things built back up, not much. I don't even think I had a sword yet, but I got food, and I think I got food, and I think I got these guys. I don't think I threw. Maybe I did. I can't remember if I threw any iron golems in there. That might have been why I lost some of my gear. Because I think if you've got monsters that steal your gear and they're killed by an iron golem, I think the shit's gone. If you kill them with your sword, you get it back. That might be why I lost so much of my stuff. But I came in here. And I came over here. Well, I had to actually build some steps up and start killing these things manually. And like I did get my trees back, the stuff I had in my inventory. Well, then what I did was I started killing the zombies, and that's when I got my buckets. That's when I got my coal. That's when I got my charcoal. That's when I got my wood back. And then everything else was gone. And if you guys have seen me and some, I had a fair amount of stuff in my inventory. Luckily, I didn't lose any of the maps that I had created. But that's what I did. Now, here's what I think it is. I do not know. It's when you start up, it'll say something like resume play or fast resume. There's something in there. Well, you cannot shut it off on this version of the Xbox. And I looked that up, and it sounds like they might be working on a way to do that, but it doesn't exist now. There's a way you can do it where you can shut it off, but it's a little bit of an ordeal, and you have to do it every time you log off. And then it's enabled by why I don't know, but it's enabled by default when you relog into the game. Well, what I found was, and this is the only thing that fixed it, because I rebooted several times. I even reinstalled the game once before, a couple weeks, maybe a month ago. And it still did it afterwards, and that was the way, like, and just in case you look it up, go look it up, it said to uninstall it. You either uninstall it first or after, but You uninstall it in one step, and in another step, either before the uninstall or after, you hold the power button on until it reboots the system. And I think they call it a hard restart or a hard shutdown or something like that. Uh, and I did that, and it still did it. But all you do, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to hit the Xbox button. And all I did to fix this time is I just launched another game. Like you can use Pac-Man, you can use Diablo 4. All you got to do is run another game, so it will log this one off. And the only thing I can figure is I was playing off and on all day yesterday, but I didn't shut it off and let it sit for a couple hours so it wasn't overheating or anything like that. And everything else worked. I've never had this crash like this, so it's got to be a Minecraft thing. But as soon as I ran another game and I didn't run it for very long, I ran it for a few minutes to unload Minecraft, and because I even rebooted the hard drive. I rebooted the hard drive and that didn't do anything. But when I ran another game and then relaunched Minecraft, then it didn't do it again all day yesterday. So far, it hasn't done it now. So I'm not really doing a whole lot right now because I gotta rebuild all my shit. But the news I have now, this came from Ross Coulthart, and it's on YouTube right now. It's News Nation. You can look it up, and it's something about three members of the GOP have colluded to block UAP disclosure. Something along that is the title. But it's one of the newest videos that News Nation has on their channel. It's not somebody else posting it. It's on News Nation's YouTube channel. And UAP disclosure is blocked. Senator Mitch McConnell and two other GOP senators are doing this. There was a Republican president. He's the hero of World War II. He was the Allied commander for World War II. He was one of his brilliance, his commitment, his courage inspired our entire country and that of our allies to win World War II. And right now, I can tell you, I'm not trying to bash the Democrats. They're like Obi-Wan. They're our only hope right now. But we desperately need someone like Eisenhower, hopefully a Democrat. But we need somebody like Eisenhower. When you look at what Eisenhower did, I think you can see a little bit of it in Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger and a few others for what they have done, standing up to their party in the face of Hitler-like fascism. They are blocking Senator Schumer's amendment, and it is amendment for the Defense Authorization Bill. I already asked you to get your people to legalize assisted suicide. This one is very important. I would ask you immediately to email, hit them up on Twitter, give them a call. If you don't mind, it's so retro. I won't be offended if you don't do it. But writing a physical letter sometimes means a lot. And especially if you're in a red state, because it sounds like this is coming from 3 GOP senators. He did not give the names of the other 2, but one of them is Senator Mitch the Bitch McConnell. And I don't have their numbers, but you could call the switchboard, ask to talk to both of your senators, ask to talk to the member of your house. Senator Schumer's bill is going to be doing 2 major things. One of them, it will exercise eminent domain on all non-human technology and information. And what that means is it sounds like there has been stuff in the past that was gathered by, like the Roswell incident, stuff like that, where the military or our government gathered stuff that was a non-human technology. And eventually it was given over to the private sector, and they have kept it for 30, 40, 50, 70 years, depending on when it was found. And they're acting like it's theirs now. And what this would do is, and I got to tell you this, and this one here, I don't know if somebody may, because he's Australian, he's not American, and even a lot of Americans don't understand it. Eminent domain is something that I think we brought over here from England, where the government for the greater good can seize things that other people have. And like now, and there have been Republicans. I don't know. There probably have been Democrats that have done this. I just don't know of any. I don't think they've done it, but it's possible. But like Donald Trump did this when he was just a businessman before he became a despot in the White House. He tried to seize people's land for a parking lot for his company. Now, um, my dad owned some property. This would have been, oh, I think this would have been back in the 90s maybe. But he owned some property. And what happened was the government came in and they said, "Oh, we're going to put a bypass in. We're gonna put." And I think my one uncle had something like this happen. We're going to put a bypass in so that we can have trucks instead of driving through town and putting all that stress and wear and tear on the roads. They can bypass the city and just go on the outskirts of it. And my dad did not understand how that eminent domain works. Um, there was no way for him to fight that. There was no way he could say, "Well, you can't have my land." He could not just sit there on it until they gave him what he wanted. It was they made an offer, and I'm not really gonna bash him because I didn't know for sure either. Uh, but he screwed up a couple times because there was a guy that came down and he was a lawyer, I believe. He was used to fighting these. Well, what he wanted to do is he wanted to do like they didn't call it this because this might have made me think a little differently, but I didn't know. I really didn't. But he came down, he wanted to act like a class action lawsuit where he was going to represent all the landowners and get them a good deal. And I don't know if this is true or not, but the guy right next to my dad, he's on like the township board. My dad always claimed he got like a better deal than everybody else, and I don't know if it's true or not. Without evidence, I don't want to accuse him of this. I don't know that. My dad was just fucking, on fire over this, and he didn't realize. And there were various people in and around the family that told him, "Well, that's their land. All you can do now is maybe argue for the amount." Nope, nope, I'm not selling. And we tried to explain to him. This was something that was explained to me in school, and I paid attention. At a certain point, what they're going to do is they're going to give you a check, and they're going to say that's our property. And he negotiated a few things, but I don't think he had anything in writing. And the thing is, I don't think he was right because he wanted to make sure he was going to get black dirt or something like that. Because when they put the bypass in, and they did not do what was required. Um, they needed to basically bring in trucks of dirt and level the field. And there was a part down there, and it was right near where they put the bypass in. There were fucking willow trees. There was like a small creek in there, and they brought in, I want to say, 3 or 4 truckloads of dirt, and they just dropped piles of it. This was this was not this was not like a truckload of loose dirt. This thing was like a big rock or a boulder. I mean, it was like bound up. When you drive, they had to break it up further. It was pretty compacted or whatever you want to call it. It was solid. It was not like bags of potting soil or anything. Well, you could smell they were dragging. I don't know where they were getting it from, but it smelled like river bottom. It was a fishy smell, and it. He was complaining that it wasn't black dirt. Well, I don't know exactly. I wasn't there when he negotiated it. He didn't have anything in writing. But he was thinking that they were going to bring him like potting soil. And it's like that, I'm sorry. This is something you shouldn't have to explain to a grown ass adult. You just shouldn't. They were not going to bring him, umpty. And then he got a hold of somebody, And see what it was, he was used to being in the union, and he would call somebody, and he didn't realize that they weren't going to call him back in a couple minutes. And the other thing is, he got, as his dementia set in, he didn't understand that, he was old school union. It was a time back then where you could do shit that was wrong, and your union would come and get you paid for it. That didn't exist anymore. At the time I worked there, that did not exist, at least for some people. If you were a good drinking buddy with the union rep and he had some pull, maybe. If you were buddy buddy with someone in management or management's wife, maybe. But for normal people, that didn't exist anymore. It just didn't. I'm just gonna hang out because I don't have any tools, and I can't focus on talking if I'm running around. But what happened was, somebody did finally come. But he would call, and he'd say, "Hey, will you help me call this guy?" And I go, "Yeah," and I called. And after like a minute or two, well, they're not calling me back, and then finally, like, there was the second or third time he had wasted my time with this, and he goes, "Hey, will you help me call that guy?" I go, "Are you gonna listen to me?" And he said, "What?" I go, "Look, if you sit there," I go, "if you do this stupid bullshit you've been doing, where you call, and when they don't call you back in a couple minutes, you're just gonna fucking wander off." I go, I'm not helping you with this anymore." I go, "That's not the way the world works." I go, "This guy that you're calling, he's in charge of the bypass. He's not a guy that is bound and determined to sit in a chair on the off chance you might call him today. He could be on the road. He could actually be busy." So I go, if we're gonna call this guy, I go, "You're gonna sit there, you're gonna grow up, and you're gonna sit there for at least an hour or two and wait for his call." Because I go, "I'm not sitting here waiting for him to call back. You don't have an answering machine." They got one after that, but not immediately, but sometime after that. I don't believe they had an answering machine back then. I think we had one phone, and it was still on the wall in the kitchen. We didn't even have a wireless. You could go sit out near the house and wait for him to call outside in a nice sunny day. And he did. He kind of calmed down. I told him, "If you're going to pull that guy," I've done it twice now, where we call this guy, he doesn't immediately call you back, and you're gone. And I told him, I go, "I'm not sitting here waiting for this guy to call back." I go, "I got shit to do." So he kind of waited, and after a while, the guy did finally call. And I helped him get a hold of some legislators, and one or two of them actually came out here. But he was doing stupid shit. Like, he found out, I think I told him, but he found out he should get an estimate on what the property is worth. And then that way you could argue that they owe you more money, not what they wanted to pay you. And what he did was, instead of, and if he'd have taken that lawyer up on his class action thing or whatever he was calling it, this guy had people coming in that would have, like, evaluated the land, he calls like a realtor and wants to know, like, how much this place would be worth. And this person came out. They were all fucking happy to give him an estimate on what he could likely get if he sold it. Well, then he let it out that he really didn't want to sell it. He just wanted a free estimate so he could fuck the city or fuck the state. Well, then they stormed off, and it's like, yeah, they're not here to work for you, Dad. They're here to make a profit by selling he could have lied to him. He didn't. I'll give him that. I at least got respect for him for that. But he never should have done it. He screwed up many different ways. I would have too. I was trying to help him, and I didn't know anything about this shit. I learned, like most people do, after the fact. And but that's how eminent domain works. Well, this would be the one. You look at all this non-human stuff that they allegedly have, and the decision will be made by this law that doesn't belong to anybody. That belongs to the people. And that's what we need to have happen. And the other thing is, you take a look at these people in big business. There was a Republican, I started this before. There was a Republican president probably the last really good one, Eisenhower. He warned us on his way out. He warned us that there was this industrial military complex, and we had to look out for exactly for what is happening right now. We need to look out from them having too much influence over the government. It looks like they have three senators, Mitch the bitch McConnell, and two others in their fucking pocket. You know, what was that? There was this movie, Tucker, A Man in His Dream. It had, God, I think it was Jeff Bridges. It was the guy who played in Tron. And he walked in on this congressman. I don't know if it was a senator or a House member. But he said, wow, that's amazing. And the guy goes, what? He goes, a congressman with his hands in his own pockets and not mine, or something along those lines. Well, this is what it is. These guys are bought and paid for. My understanding is, and I don't know if it's true or not, I don't, but I saw an interview with a girl that was supposedly Dwight D. Eisenhower's granddaughter. And she said the story they heard growing up, and I don't know if granddaughter, she probably knew her grandfather. She might have been real young when he passed, but it sounds like she knew him. This military-industrial complex, this Magic 12 and some other shit, that was put in place by Truman. And she has said that Majestic 12, or whatever you want to call it, it was real. And that he tried to put a stop to it, and there was a day where he was going to let everybody in on everything, and then they stopped him. That's pretty scary. But again, what we're seeing now, somebody is stopping this disclosure, and I would say that gives a little bit of credibility to her story. You take Marco Rubio, senator from Florida. This is a guy I saw in an interview, and he basically, he was not taking sides. He was just, and again, I think the guy's useless, but he made sense on this subject. Because he said, well, we've got these people coming into us in the Congress, both houses, that have really high security clearances. They still have them. They've never been pulled. They are still on the job. They are still using that security clearance. And that David Grutch, they took his away. Well, they eventually had to give it back to him. So, like, again, after that tells me what he said was true. You know, where he came and said, well, yeah, people have been harmed or killed to cover up UFOs. If you got a guy that's nuts and goes into Congress and says that, I don't think they get their security clearance back. I don't. When he comes in and says that, yes, money has been misappropriated for UFO stuff, I don't think you get your security clearance back if that's not true. And he's gotten his security clearance back since he went and testified a couple months ago. And I really don't know, but this is something that I kind of stitched out on threads to the Democrats and a couple of the Republicans. They're not actually on threads, so I could hashtag them in, but the Democrats I tagged in that seemed interested in this, I basically told them, I go, and I'm asking you to tell them too, they cannot give in to this. They can't take out the eminent domain stuff. They cannot take out, like, and this is another thing the Republicans, Mitch the bitch and his two little cohorts, his little fucking evil cohorts in there. The thing they probably want to do is just like they wanted to give businesses immunity in COVID. Like if they were not essential workers, you know, like a gym, a restaurant, you know, they didn't need to be open during the pandemic. Well, these people were going to force their workers to come back. And then one of the things the Republicans, led by Mitch the bitch, did, they wanted to give those companies immunity. And the Democrats held firm. They're like, no, if these people are going to bring their workers back and they're not going to do what they need to do to give them a safe environment, then they have to be liable for the damages on that. And I'm just saying the same thing here, that these people that have been involved in this, the companies, the aerospace companies, the defense contractors, the people in the intelligence department, the people in the defense department. If these guys broke the law, they need to go to jail. The only way they should get a get out of jail free card is if they, like a normal case where they turn over enough evidence to bury other people. Then they can get a plea deal. Then they can get reduced charges. But if they fucked up, I don't care if they're 90 and in an old folks home. Fucking lock them up. This is what we need. Because, we're seeing this with Trump. These Republicans have gotten away with breaking the law for something like, going back to Nixon. And they keep doing it. It's going to be the same way with your big businesses. It's going to be the same way with your defense contractors. It's going to be the same way with the intelligence people. They have to go to jail. Otherwise, it might not even be on this subject, but this will happen again. They have to go to jail. They have to. The future has to know that this will not be tolerated, so it will give them some incentive to not do it. If you've got people that watched it and turned a blind eye, jail. And then what you'll do is if people are fucking up, even if they're not involved, if they see it, they're likely to turn these people in. And, and like that one congressman said, there's like, every year they audit the Defense Department, there's like $1 billion that comes up missing. That's $1 billion a year tax dollars. And I don't care. There's a tax, there's a local, state, and federal tax on alcohol. There's a local, state, and federal tax on cigarettes. There's a local, state, and well, there might not be a federal, but there's at least a local and state tax in these states where they've legalized marijuana. Most of you are paying taxes. It might not be income taxes, might not be a lot, but you're still paying taxes, and these fucking shitbags are stealing your fucking money. It's wrong. And but that's the big thing. They're going to have eminent domain. And the other thing is a lot of these companies, were getting sweetheart deals. They were given technology that was classified. Nobody else had it. So they had an unfair business advantage. An unfair business advantage given to them by the military, by the government, or at least a faction of it. And then the other thing is these guys were steered contracts because of this. And again, this is my opinion based on what I've seen, but you take a look at that Bigelow Aerospace. This is a guy that just out of the blue became like $1 billion, if not $1 trillion aerospace company. And now we're finding out he was involved with UFOs or the paranormal. They gave him like just aside from everything else he did, they gave him like a $22 million contract to investigate the fucking freaky shit going on at Skinwalker Ranch. Well, as soon as he started talking about it, boom, his company is pretty much out of the loop. I think it went bankrupt. It's not a big player anymore. That company was clearly created by the defense industry. And when he started leaking stuff they didn't want leaked, boom, it went under. And that's what we're looking at here. So there clearly has been malfeasance with the contracting and all this other stuff. And that is something that is likely going to trigger massive fucking lawsuits, civil lawsuits, declaring that there's all these companies that were illegally in business with the government. And you're going to have people or relatives of people that lost their pension, lost their job. You were going to have companies that went under suing. You were going to have, like we're seeing with Fox News, where they are suing Fox News for lying on the news because companies were buying stock for retirement portfolios and other stuff, mutual funds, whatnot. And because of Fox News lying, they're taking a hit. And that's an unfair thing. They have a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders, and that's what we are going to see if this happens. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not even sure we're going to find out that ET is real. Maybe not, but I can just about bet. Like if I was a betting guy, and I'm not, but if I was a betting guy, I'd go all in on this. We are definitely, I think, going to find that there was millions, billions, maybe even trillions of dollars of illegality going on. And you are going to see companies that they're going to have to go in and seize all their information and fucking either give it or sell it to other people. And these companies are going bankrupt. You're likely going to see people in 3 or 4 different sectors going to jail for what they did. This is what we need to happen. And I think what it is, because because they can't get their immunity, because they can't get their sweetheart deals, they can't get their Epstein pardon. Like, when Epstein was down in Florida and they came in, oh, you fucking raped and molested and fucked these little girls. Oh, well, we'll just give you a little slap on the wrist and you go set up shop in another state. That's what happened with Epstein. One of Trump's goons. This was back before Trump was in office, but Trump hired the guy. He was a federal investigator, federal prosecutor. When the state of Florida had him dead to rights, they were going to put him in a Florida jail. There was going to be no sweetheart deal. Oh, he swooped in from the federal office and made a fucking sweetheart deal for him. I think Bush was president when that happened. And Epstein got away with it. They broke laws. They broke laws. There's a Florida law where you cannot make a plea deal with a person like that. You can't even offer it to them until you've informed the family. The family never knew until it was all done. Why weren't these prosecutors put in jail for that? Why were they not? I mean, probably no enforcement mechanism for it. But they broke the law and they got away with it. And then, a future president fucking hired the guy for the Justice Department, a high level position for the government. This shit's wrong. It's just absolutely fucking wrong. And the other thing that the Schumer amendment will do, and this one's kind of huge too. I think there's other stuff it'll do, but these are the two heavyweight things they want to. And these are the two things that I think Mitch, the bitch, McConnell, Republican majority leader or minority leader in the Senate, these are the two things he's probably bitching about. They want to create a UFO presidential review board, and it would act a lot like the one. And this is I don't really have a lot of hope in it. It'd act a lot like the one for the JFK files, but it's better than nothing. And the fact that Mitch, the bitch McConnell, are fighting against it, I would say it's probably going to have an effect. Because and that was the thing I was hearing from Ross Coulthart like a few weeks ago, like a couple weeks, maybe a couple months ago, that he was hearing that they were working on making it toothless. There were lobbying from the defense industry. There was lobbying from the intelligence industry. There was lobbying from defense contractors, and they were trying to make it toothless. But the UFO Presidential Board to review UFO info like the JFK board did, with a mandate for disclosure. So they would be going through there. Because I got to tell you, we need, if you don't care, then that's fine. Fair enough. But if you are someone that wants to get to the bottom of this, and I want to stress this is not just a UFO thing. If you want to get to the bottom of billions of dollars that go missing, that are given to the defense contractor, the defense department every year, like $1 billion comes up, and that's the stuff. Like, here's the thing: we don't even know where that went. This is what I want to make clear on it. We don't even know where that went. It's not like $500 toilet seats or $600 hammers or $300 ashtrays. We know where that shit went. Like they can basically. This is stuff we don't even know where it went. We saw this under the Bush administration. Like, if you've ever worked in a factory and you've seen a skid with like boxes on it, shrink wrapped, ready to ship. Okay, you might have seen it in a TV show. You might have seen it maybe you worked at a place where they did that. Maybe you saw somebody unload a pallet like that from a truck as you were going to a store or whatever. They had skids like that of money. They weren't in a box. It was just a fucking pile of money. It was like one of them skids. They're like 4x4 or something like that. But it was this skid. You've seen them. Most of you have seen them. It was a skid with a pile of fucking money on it that was like 5 or 6 feet tall. This thing weighed a lot. It was a lot of weight. And they had it shrink wrapped. And that's literally how they transported it to Iraq. And there were whole truckloads. And we're not talking like, oh, a couple bucks here. We're not even talking like a skid. There were whole truckloads of this shit that just went missing during that war. And again, it's not like, oh, well, we spent it on female uniforms or male uniforms or tennis shoes or like another thing that was wasted in that war. You had these people that were driving vehicles over there during Desert Storm tour, or the President 43 George W. Bush, not H.W. his father, but W. Bush. Um, they had people over there that were given these trucks, and they could drive them around the green zone or drive them around the country. You know, you were in a little more danger if you went outside that green zone. If you were in the green zone, I'm not saying it was safe, but it was safer at least. And there were stories coming out that all they had to do was just do routine maintenance. Now, like you or I, you have a car. Like every 3 months, you got to change oil. If you're using that synthetic stuff, you can change it a little less often. But like you're over there in the desert. Every couple weeks, every month, you needed to change the oil, you needed to change the filter, just do main. They wouldn't do that. They would just drive them until the car blew up. They'd drive them until the car was ruined, and then they just get a new car. That's waste. But we know that waste. What I'm talking about is money just vanishing. Like fucking Harry Houdini, poof, it's gone. And that's what was fucking going on over there. It's going on right now. There's all the money that's wasted that we know about, and that's horrible. That's absolutely fucking horrible. But we're talking about money that's just vanishing and nobody knows about it. We can maybe get to the bottom of that with this, because I think it's going to be some of it, if not all of it. You're going to find out that a lot of this UFO stuff could be a hoax so that they can pocket this money. I think that's at least going to be some of it. It might not be all of it, but I think some of that is going to lead to this. It's going to, because there was a story, and I've talked this before, but I literally am a little freaked out by this. There was a guy that created a company. He was a World War II vet. He learned what he did in the war, and came back, made a career of it, and worked it up to where he could build his own company. And it was called, I think, Tiger Scientific. Now, the story in question that I saw, it was on the Y Files. They have WHY Files on YouTube. I like it. I haven't seen anything new come up, so maybe they quit making stuff. I don't know. But they did a story on this. Now, if they were lying to me, then I'm turning around lying to you, but I'm not doing it on purpose. But this guy, when he built up his company, he ended up getting a military contract. And he ended up moving real close to the base so he wouldn't have to drive that far when he had to interact with them. Well, he started getting these communication signals like they do on Skinwalker Ranch. They were in the 1 point something or other gigahertz range. And on the Beyond Skywalker, the one guy that used to work for the CIA, he said, well, those frequencies are reserved for communication between Earth and space. Well, this guy used because he did communications in the war. And he worked at a TV or radio station after the war. And then, it was a little bit his wheelhouse, trying to decode communications and other stuff. Well, he actually thought he was decoding this shit. And he thought he was decoding it. And what happened was, it was like this branch of the Air Force. It was this clandestine Air Force office. They broke into his house when he wasn't there. They started fucking with his computer. And they made him think he was decoding it and talking to like an alien life form or something. They drove this guy nuts. And they drove this guy nuts. And the other thing I found out watching it, if the Y-Files were right, this is where the Dulce, New Mexico underground tunnels story started. It started around this guy. And they also speculate, they go, it's all classified, we can't get any answers, but They speculate that this one military guy lost his job and his security clearance because he went too far. Because my understanding, it's illegal for the military or really any government agency to create a propaganda. Other than Fox News, it's illegal for the government to create propaganda to be used on American citizens. And that's where I kind of worry about what's going on with Skinwalker Ranch. Are they going through some of the same shit this guy did? But I will tell you this, I firmly believe that some of what's going on at Skinwalker Ranch might be like a government plot. But I also think that if it is, it's not all of it. And I think they're doing it to cover up what's really going on. They're, kind of like you're waving the towel at the bull to get the bull to not impale you. And but that's what was going on with this guy. And I think there's a possibility that there's some of this going on now so that people in this clandestine shadow government can fucking seize money that they have no earthly right to. And so please write your people and talk to them about this. Tell them, look, we need to pass it. We need to pass it without any fucking Republican carve-outs for... And it isn't even all the Republicans. Like I said, according to Ross, there's only 3 of them in the Senate. So like 3%. The fucking 3%ers. And let them know that they need to represent on this. They need to represent the American people. They need to represent honest taxpayers. They can't be representing the fucking special interest in the military, in the intelligence, and in the military-industrial complex. They can't do it. And tell them they gotta stand strong. They gotta stand as strong as Adam Kinzinger did. They gotta stand as strong as Eisenhower did against the Nazis. They gotta stand as strong as Liz Cheney did. And they gotta stand there because on the other side of this, you're likely gonna see a collapse of that illegal empire that's in government. So, seriously, I need you to reach out. You got to talk to them because of what Ross is hearing. If this doesn't pass now, it's likely going to get buried and it won't come up again for years. It might not even come up while I'm alive. Even if I live a long, healthy life, it could be like Roswell, 1947 or 48 or whatever, where it's buried for like 60, 70 years. So we really need this. I need you guys to rally, talk to your friends, talk to your family, and you don't. I'm not. I don't need the attention. I'm not asking you to share my video. Just do it word of mouth. Get a hold of your friends on social media and basically just tell them, talk to them, have a conversation, and ask them if they think it's right. If the special interests in the military, around intelligence, ask them if they think it's okay that they're stealing billions of dollars every year. And they're going to say no, that's our tax dollars. They shouldn't be doing that. So basically just ask them to write their Congress, write the president, let them know that this can't be happening. And let the senators know, hey, this time next year, you are likely going to be able to put people away in the Justice Department for going after Senator Menendez to cover this up. You can let the president know, hey, maybe this time next year, if this happens and we actually do it right, if we get it done honestly, maybe this time next year, he's actually able to fucking watch his new and improved Justice Department fucking slap the cuffs on the people that have been jerking his son around. Because I honestly think what's going on with Menendez, I think what's going on with Hunter Biden, I think the only reason it's happening is so they can intimidate the Senate and they can intimidate the president, and I'm sorry. The minor things that the Senator, I'm not sure. I really don't know. I honestly believe it's possible they manufactured all this, but he really looks guilty as fuck. But when you listen to the career prosecutors, people that have, given good, strong, honorable service in the DOJ, they've said, they go, it really looks like he's only being prosecuted because he's the president's son. None of this stuff looks real. It doesn't look like stuff that anybody else in his place would be charged for unless their name was Biden. And, seriously, just let them know, hey, maybe this time next year we can go after the people in and out of the Justice Department that targeted Senator Menendez. Maybe this time next year, let the president know that maybe we can target the people that were going after his son to try and silence our duly elected people. And I think that's a well worthwhile cause. Let's get that done. Now the last thing I want to talk about is first thing I want to say is this is something my brother watches. It's called Expedition X or something like that. It's the main guy is a guy named Josh, and what it is, he's got like an Expedition Unknown, and he actually does most of the work on that. With this Expedition X, he's got like kind of a reverse X-Files. He's got this really, really fucking hot female who's a true believer, and he's got this kind of nerdy, quirky guy who is all scientific, So like this hot girl that he's got on there is his Mulder, and this guy, and I'm not bad mouthing either one of them. She's really hot, but he's kind of like he looks like an intellectual. I don't mean it. Being smart is not a bad thing, and we shouldn't try to make it that. But he looks like an intellectual guy, and he's really trying to get to the truth. He's trying to get to the. That's a really good show. If you're not watching it, you should check it out. I think it's on Discovery or something like that. But that one there, they just did one, and I literally, it's something my brother recorded, and I just literally watched it over the weekend and then this morning. And there's one where they did a two-part one on the Uinta Basin or Skinwalker Valley, and whoever named these shows really needs a new job. They need to get somebody else doing it. Because the first one was basically, they either called it the Uinta Basin or Skinwalker Valley. And then the other one, it was part two. It was literally part two. And that one there, I can't remember what they called it, but there was no indication that it was connected to Skinwalker in the title. Where like the other one, this is the one I really want to talk about, it's either Eloise Hospital or Eloise Asylum. This was like I want to say this was a hospital that was either back in the late 1800s or the early 1900s is when it was operating. And I got to tell you, I honestly think Josh is an honest guy. I don't think he's lying about anything. And so I'm going under that premise. I'm going under the premise that his show is honest, that they're not lying to you. Well, they did a two-parter on that, and I don't know, you might be able to watch it on YouTube. My brother recorded it, so I was able to watch it that way. But that one there was one of the best paranormal investigations I have seen, and I've seen a lot of it. I've seen the good, the bad, and the fucking ugly and stupid. That was one of the best ones I have seen, and I've seen a lot of good ones, but my God, did that one stick out because and I'll tell you that, and this is all I'm going to do. I'm not going to go into as much detail, but I'm going to impart to you some advice I have for judging these. When you watch these UFO shows or paranormal shows, the people that are introducing, like the people that know it, especially if they own the property or live on it, like with Skinwalker Ranch, one of the things that tips me off that makes me want to believe it, because I really don't, I don't know anybody there. I don't know Bigelow. I don't know Brandon Fugel. I don't know any of the scientists. But one of the things that tips me off to want to believe it is when they started the show and they let you know that these researchers or scientists or whatever label you want to give them that were there with Bigelow, They were refusing to ever set foot on that place again. They just weren't. That's an indication that there might be something real there. My understanding is one of the reasons why they got the $22 million Bigelow did to investigate the ranch. They sent somebody there, and I don't know if they were military or intelligence, or maybe they were military intel. But the military, the government sent somebody there. And when they returned to their, and I believe it was a military base, I might be wrong, because I don't know if they call like FBI or I don't know if they call their locations bases either. But I think it was a military base. The story I heard, and again, if people lied to me, then I'm lying to you. It's just I'm not doing it on purpose. But when they visited that place and then returned back to their base, they took it with them. It was one of those hitchhiker events, and literally that location became Skinwalker Ranch for at least a week. And things were so bad there, they almost shut the base down and relocated everybody. Because it was, and again, I think that is what triggered the $22 million, because they're like, what the fuck? We got to find out what the fuck this is, because it literally, all they did was they sent somebody there for a couple days, and when he came back, the bullshit that happened at that location damn near shut it down. It must have scared the shit out of somebody. And like when you see these things, like there was one, now this was on YouTube, and I don't know what channel, I don't know the name of the show, but it was a bunch of biker dudes. It looked like 3 biker dudes. And again, I don't mean it in a bad way, but these guys, as UFO investigators, or not UFO, paranormal investigators, they didn't look like paranormal investigators. Like you seeing them in there with all their equipment, it looked out of place. But if you saw these guys with a jean jacket, some jeans, some boots, on a Harley, that would have looked completely normal. I'm just saying, though, that's what they looked like. And I don't mean it in a bad way. They were investigating something. And again, this one started out, in my mind, good. It was like a good imprint for everything that followed. The person that owned the property didn't even come. If I remember it right, they basically had talked to the person on the phone. She either got them the key off site or had left it for them, and they could basically get in and out. And it came out, they go, yeah, she wouldn't even come here to let us in. She will not come here anymore. That's an indication, because it's like Bob Lazar. This is one of the reasons why I give him a lot of credit. This is a guy that clearly does not want the attention. If Bob Lazar was lying, he would want the attention. He'd be out there trying to sell books. And I'm not saying that disqualifies any, but I'm just saying, when you see that, if you see somebody that's not trying to make money from this, it's an indication to me that it's an indication that it's probably credible. And it doesn't mean that, people that want to talk and want to do book, doesn't mean they're not credible. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm just saying, when you see these people that are clearly bringing this up or have made these claims, and they are trying to live outside the spotlight, that I think is an added indicator that the shit they're talking about is real. And but that was the thing. And then during it, some freaky shit happened, and the one guy goes, "Hey, we need it," because I think the shower turned on, and so and it was stuff that didn't happen on camera, but there was some stuff that happened. They ended up going outside. They got the fuck out of the house for a few, and then they noticed, according to them, and again, if they're lying to me, then I'm lying to you, but I'm not doing it on purpose. They noticed windows were open that had been shut. They didn't see anybody. They had been all over the house. They didn't see anybody in there. And I just want to say this. If you are someone out there that's faking this shit, you are a horrible person, and I sincerely hope you die. It's one thing to scare a friend and then own up to it. But, if you are making this shit up, there are serious people out there trying to get to the bottom of it. And, hey, if there's honestly nothing there, then there's nothing there. That's fine. Absolutely fine. But if you've got these people that are just doing this for attention or to make a buck, they're fucking horrible people. So if there was somebody there, pulling a Scooby Doo where they were in hiding, making the whole thing, you're a horrible person, and I really wouldn't care if you died. Would not make me feel bad at all. It really wouldn't. But these guys got freaked out, and I don't think they were that good of actors. I really don't think these guys were that good of acting. The one guy, man, we gotta get the hell out of here. And one of the guy goes, well, yeah, but if we do that, everybody's gonna think we punked out. And he said, I'm fine with that. He goes, I am fucking fine with that. He just wanted to get the fuck away from that place. And well, when they were researching this asylum, again, do I 100% know? No, I don't. Do I trust Josh and by extension his team? Yes, I do. At least for now. If they're proven wrong, fine. But they had it was a home. It was like a spirit box or something like a spirit box that they had made. It had the Expedition X logo on it. It was made specifically for the show. Uh, you can probably buy them on Amazon right next to the Spaceballs flamethrowers or whatever. But what they had there, that was one of the best, if it was real, that was one of the best spirit box things I had ever seen in my life. Because a lot of the times it's kind of shitty. It's hard to understand or it's all over the place. This one here was pretty good. If it was real, I don't know. And then they were taking photos, and they had a Polaroid. So you just basically, and again, I think some of this stuff comes out better if you're using chemical based photography instead of electronic, because I think, especially with the UFO stuff, I think that's why we do not get clear pictures anymore. Because if these things are real, whatever their technology is, I think they can manipulate electronic cameras. And they had an old Polaroid. So, I mean, I don't, and they didn't mention this, but I really got to give a shout out to them for using a non-electronic camera, which might be harder for these things to and it was a Polaroid. This is kind of a shout out for them because you saw it. It's boom, spitting out the picture, and you just got to wait for it to develop. So you can't say, oh, well, we took that picture a week ago, and here's what we got. Well, then you got all the excuses. Well, was it altered? Was it fucked with? Etc. Etc. This here, boom, one stop, and then and in the same episode, they even showed you on one of them. They're like, they showed you them things slowly developing. Well, they took pictures all over this thing, and the ones that they took, I think it was in one area. I think it was the nurses' station, and they were told that there was normally a lot of activity there, and those pictures didn't develop. I don't know if you guys are younger. You can go talk to your grandparents or your parents. They might. These were things that were pretty popular when I was a kid. Those Polaroids were pretty much idiot proof. And so when these things didn't develop, and that was back then, it should all be better now. But the ones that they took near that one area, they didn't develop. And then some of the other ones that they had, there were shadows behind the people. And that was one of the claims they had gotten, that there were shadow people there. One of them that was called the Creeper. And this, again, I give a little bit of credibility to this because when they got there, the guy came, his daughter came. They were the ones that owned it. They used to give tours in this place. And the dad was kind of pissed. He goes, we've heard this a lot over the years where people tell, oh, well, this ain't real, that ain't real. Oh, they're just stories. He goes, I dare anybody to come and stay here for the night and claim that in the morning if they make it through the morning. And then that's when the daughter basically said that she's been choked. And they talked to other people not really associated with it, but people who had been there. And they said, well, yeah, I felt people poking me in the back, and there was nobody there. And that girl said felt like she'd been physically choked. Well, while they were there, the one girl there she claims she got physically choked, and it happened on camera. They could show you she had red marks on her neck. And to me, I'm not a forensic expert. I don't even play one on TV in front of a sex toy shop in New Jersey like Rudy Giuliani during a presidential debate. But it looked like stuff you would see in a police photo of an assault victim. It was pretty bad. Because I've choked people and I've hit people with gloves on, without gloves on, and usually I've never seen them flare up that much. I've seen them turn red, I've seen them get bruised, but not this severe. It was, in my opinion, it was bad from my personal experience. And you had those shadows in there. Well, again, and I will give it. I really wish that, I really hope that somebody at the History Channel or somebody on The Proof Is Out There would actually learn from this. And in either just get rid of that Mick West guy and get somebody honest like these people, because I was pissed at first because he's like, oh, well, let's go back into the room. And so they went back in the room. Josh's like, fair enough, let's go back in the room. Well, then he was shining a light on her that was not there when they took the pictures. But he was shining his light and he was throwing a shadow. Because that was the thing they noticed in the picture. They're like, well, couldn't that be a shadow from the light? And she goes, no, the shadow from the light, and she was pointing at it in the picture, it's right behind me, real close to me. This thing is in the wrong direction for it to be that. And Josh's like, oh well, this guy's like, well, yeah, look, we're casting a shadow. And then Josh goes, so you think if I take the picture, and because it didn't look anything like it, it was like a Mick West debunking. The shadow he created did not look like what was in the picture at all. And it wasn't even the right color, but it was wasn't dark enough, but it was just the wrong shape and everything else. And he goes, so you think if I take the picture, it's going to look like that? He goes, well, yeah, if you move, maybe take them in different spots. Well, he took them again with the Polaroid, and they waited for them to come through. The flash from the camera washed out that shadow. Nothing there. Just nothing there. And then, but again, unlike Mick West, that guy admitted, well, I guess that ain't it then. And it was just totally different, but they looked at all of that. Another thing they did was they were talking to what everybody thinks is the nurse entity that's there. And they were looking with, it's one of those temperature sensing cameras where it can show you like the temperature variation. And they basically told the nurse, well, we've brought some equipment here if you'd take a look at it. Fingerprints showed up, like the stuff on the table, the equipment, suddenly showed a flare of heat. And there was nothing there. There was literally nothing there. And I got to say, that was absolutely the best one. I highly recommend that show. I'm not going to be able to watch it all the time, but my brother records it, and then like on the weekends when there isn't as much shit on, I can watch those, like in the morning when the cats wake me up to get fed. And like I said, weekends usually when I do it. And then after watching that one, I watched the second part of it this morning. Absolutely the best paranormal investigation I have seen in my life, and I've seen good ones. I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly, and the stupid. And this is by far, from my memory, the best one I have ever watched. I was really, really impressed with it. And then the other one, and I got to be honest with you, and this is going to wrap it up. Hopefully this won't take that long. Because like I said, I really don't want to talk about, go watch it, and I don't want to talk about the individual things, but a little bit like the ghost story, I just want to, the main thing I wanted to get by with the last one was like, keep an eye on the way the people act. Because this one here, that guy showed up and let him into the building, told him they'd have full access to the whole building. And they go, you're not staying? He goes, no, we're not staying. That's an indication, to me, that's an indication that this might be real. And then like you said, any of these people want to run their mouth, hey, let's see if they do that in the morning after they stay on the fifth. And he said he was very specific, after they've stayed on the 5th floor all night, if they make it the whole night. And but again, the way he was, he didn't want to be on the show. He wasn't there like, oh, gimme that attention. He's like, yep, here's the key. Ask any question you want, and then we're leaving. They were not staying there for this shit. That to me is an indication. It's an indication that they're they're telling you the truth. This might not be a bullshit story, because if they were bullshit, and again, they could even, maybe they're just really brave and sticking it out. But when you've got those people acting like that, I take that as an indication of truthfulness, of something real. Uh, Same thing on Skinwalker Ranch. Some of the regulars that are there, when Travis showed up and wanted to start digging, they're like, "You can't dig." I mean, to me, if this was all a hoax, they'd be like, "Fuck it, you want to dig? Let's dig, and then we'll get the fucking shit going." But they were actually scared. They were actually scared to dig. That's an indication. Again, I don't think anybody on that show is that good of an actor. These are like real people. These are not actors. And just the look of fear and alarm at times on that show, and surprise. That again, that tells me that there might be something here. I'm not there. I'm not sure I want to go there either. But that's an indication to me there might be something really going on there. Uh, but like with this Bigfoot, there it's Ozzy Osbourne's kid, and I think his name is Jack. He's got like two shows, and I can't think of the name of them, but one of them, he's more watching videos, and he's on set, or I think they film it in the house. But they look at videos. The other one, he goes out. It's kind of like that Conjuring Keisha one. It's similar to that, where and the cat might be here. I think one of them was playing with the back of my chair. He goes out and actually investigates stuff. Well, he did one where, and this is I've watched all of this. The other one I was taking a little more like, well, I haven't watched all of it. The night it was on, my brother told me about it, and I watched it. And the only reason I watched it is because it had Jason Mew on there. The guy, I'm actually a fan of the Clerk and the other surrounding movies, Chasing Amy, Clerks. God, I can't. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. There's a whole host of movies. I want to say there's like 4 or 5 of them now, and they all feature Jay and Silent Bob. And Jason Mewes is, I think it's Jay. He's not really a good actor, so I think they had to give his character his name so he'd fucking respond. But I think it was Jay and Silent Bob, and Silent Bob has really sprouted. He works more behind the scenes now, but like I'm a big fan of those movies. Chasing Amy, Clerks. I really can't think of the name of the one. It's I think it was the first one they did, and that one there I damn near saw last. Like I think the first one I saw, it was Dogma. That's another one. But the first one they did, it had Ben Affleck before he was known, and it had some other people that were not really big actors at the time. And there's a thing in there where, and I'm not advocating anybody do this, but there's a thing in there, they called it stink palming someone. And they're like, what's that? And he goes, well, it's where you wipe your ass in the crack, or you wipe your hand in the crack of your ass and then shake somebody's hand so they don't know it. And then what happens is they eat, and they get your ass stink in their mouth from eating. And they did it to a guy, and again, I'm not advocating this. I'm not a medical expert. I just don't think it's very nice. It's not something I would do. I don't think I could hate a person enough to want to do that to him. I think if I hated a person, I'd just rather shoot him. I really do. That is just nasty. But they did it to a guy, and I don't know if I've ever seen this guy play a good guy. Usually he's a prick. He was a prick in, at least I think it was him. Maybe it's been a while. But I think it's the guy who played the prick detective or lieutenant or captain in Bone Collector. He got killed. I watched that movie several times before I realized he got killed at the end of the movie. But he was the prick there. He's been a prick in a few. I've never seen him where he was a nice guy. Every time I've seen him, he's always been a prick. But he stunk palmed the guy, and the guy got sick as shit at the end of the movie. And the but I've always liked his character, and everything I've seen out of that, I really haven't thought it was that good. But all the stuff he's done for those Jay and Silent Bob movies, he's been funny as shit. And the thing is, they might only have like a few bit parts in one of them, where and basically they're drug dealers. They're selling pot. I don't think they sell any, but they're just pot dealers. And that, like in Clerks, they're selling outside this fucking store. And they go in and use the bathroom, buy soda while they're sitting there selling pot. And then you've got Jay and Silent, or you got Dogma. That was the first. I think that was the first one where they had a big part, and they basically had to save the world. And this guy's just a goofy fucking guy. Like there's a part in there where I'm gonna get it wrong so I'm just gonna tell you I can't remember the whole. It's been a while since I've seen it, but they're talking to this girl, and they've been kind of told to help her. What it is, she's like one of the last. She's either the or one of the last descendants of Jesus Christ, and they have to get her somewhere so she can save the world, or there's gonna be like an apocalypse. And they're sitting there going, well, hey, if we're gonna help you, are you gonna have sex with us? And and Silent Bob's like blinking his eye, like blinking his eyebrows, like yeah. And she's like, no, I'm not, because they're sitting there trying to figure out how they're gonna have sex with her. And finally, she's like, I'm not having sex with you. And she fucking starts walking away. And he goes, hey, guys like us just don't fall out of the sky, And fucking Chris Rock lands naked on the naked on the fucking ground. He just drops on the ground from heaven, and I forget what. I think he's one of the apostles or something like that. There's a scene in their movie now. I still think again, it might all be special effects, but back then you didn't have as many special effects. Selma Hayek was in there, and she was, I think, a muse, talked about in the Bible, and she was dancing pretty much buck naked at a strip club. But the thing is, she didn't have nipples or genitalia because she's a muse. But the dance scene she did in it, that was fucking hilarious. It was absolutely fucking hilarious. But after Chris Rock hit the ground, that Jason Mewes guy, he sees him and he looks up. He goes, giant, huge breast. He goes, beautiful, huge-breasted women just don't fall out of the sky. And he was waiting for a girl to fall after that. And then I think it was Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. They were working on a movie, and there were all these people trash talking them online. And at the very end of the movie, what it is, because they basically got ripped off. They sued. They were given a huge fucking settlement. And what did they spend their money on? They spent their money tracking down every fucking shitbag that trash talked them. Like, they get to this one door, and they're like, the guy kid answers it. He goes, hey, do you by any chance use the handle, whatever it is, Skylark 8639 or something? And he goes, well, yeah, what's it to you? And they drag him out there and start beating the shit out of him. And they were checking him off the list, and they were just going around beating up everybody that fucking trash talked them online. And look, I realize that ain't right, but I think if a little bit of that happened, the world would be a better place, because you wouldn't have these like keyboard. Here's the thing: I say some pretty horrible shit online, but I'll pretty much say it to your face too. There's no mystery to this, But yeah, that was funny. Well, anyways, I watched an interview that had I think it was Steve-O from the Jackass crowd, And I almost didn't watch. There was literally I wanted to watch something on UFOs on YouTube, and there was just literally not that much on. And I figured first I'm like, nah, I ain't gonna watch. And I thought, if it's shit, I'll quit watching it. And I gotta be honest, I figured it being a jackass guy, it was gonna be shit. I really did. And I gotta be honest with you, if my streams could be half as good as Steve-O's, I'd be a happy camper. I know my stuff shit. I get that. But I really thought he did a good job on that. And he was talking about, I think he was talking about UFOs. He was talking about something in that genre. And I thought he did a really good job. I don't know if he's a believer or not, but I thought he did a good job. And like I said, if I could get my streams to be half as good as his, I would be a happy fucking camper. I really would. And so it was right after that when my brother was telling me about Jason Mewes, and I thought, you know what? I want to watch it just to see if it's any good or not. After, because I was like, I figured it'd be a shit show. And it really wasn't. Jason Mew was not bad in there, but like the first time I watched it when it was on, they were doing Bigfoot. And he was fucking around. It's after they got some kind of electronic device that fakes animal noises. So they were going to try and see what they could attract at night. Well, right after that, he started fucking around, and I'm like, when I watch this stuff, I want something serious. He was funny. He was absolutely funny. I was not offended. I want to watch something a little more serious. I'm like, I'll find something better to watch. Well, I wanted to delete it, so I ended up watching it like over the weekend, or maybe it was this morning. And I wanted to watch it so I could delete it, just get it off of there. And this time I made it to where it was the morning after he was getting out of the tent. And this had nothing to do with this, but it was right around the time where, in case you watch it, you're watching the one that I watched. He got up and he literally had to go piss. So they're filming him piss out in the woods. That did not offend me. That's natural. Hell, I've done it. I might have done it if I was there. He wasn't whipping it out. All you could see was his ass. It was in those Under Armour shorts or compression shorts, but he fucking whipped it out. You couldn't see anything. He's taking a piss, and I might have done it if I was there. So I'm not offended. But he got up and he was asked if he slept. He's like, oh well, I heard something, but they knew the Schnoozmeister, And then I'm like, yeah, I don't need this shit. I want to watch something serious. And I'm going to add one more thing about the show. The next episode, I think they were dealing with Skinwalker Ranch or that area. And they had Jason Mewes again, and they had, oh God, it's another one of those 80s persons. I can't think of his name. Might have been 90s, but might have been Jamie Kennedy. I think it might have been him, but it was somebody. If it wasn't Jamie Kennedy, it was somebody like him that was kind of there and then gone after like 15 minutes. But they were real popular. This before the internet became real big. This before you had your modern day. He was like an old time influencer. And if you had the internet back then, he'd have probably made it bigger, and he'd probably still be around to this day. But it was kind of either at the beginning of the internet or pre-internet. And he used to have his own TV show. I think it was Jamie Kennedy, but if it wasn't him, it was another show just like it. And there was a handful of them around. It wasn't Tom Green, but it was somebody in that genre and around the same time slot, I think. Well, the little bit I watched of it, that actually looked really good. But now with Bigfoot, they started talking about it in there, and I think they brought up the Patterson video. I can't think of the other guy's name. I think it started with a G, but there was one or two guys. Patterson was one of them. I can't remember for sure what the other guy's name is. But what they did was they filmed a Bigfoot, and this was back. Let me see if I can. Give me a second. I'll see if I can bring it up on my tablet here. And Okay, you if you type in Patterson, Patterson, Gimlin is, I believe, the other one, Robert Gimlin. You can find him on YouTube. Uh, and the one thing I will recommend, if you can find, because this to me was huge. This was absolutely huge. The Proof is Out There did a episode where they did at least one episode where they're talking about Bigfoot. According to the YouTube search, season 2, episode 13 is the one. Well, this footage, 1967 is when it appears. That's a date I'm getting on it. They shot this back before there was a lot of technology. And when you get into Bigfoot information, the one thing I will say is, and this goes with UFO. And again, I'm trying to help you think about it. I'm not trying to really tell you anything other than the stuff I found funny. But I'm not trying to tell you anything. I'm trying to tell you how to think about this stuff. And like, because there was something, and I think it might have been the Solway Firth camera footage. But there's some of this old stuff that gets talked about again, because a lot of the people, like, if got a couple people watching us, a lot of the people nowadays weren't around back then. This was all stuff, I mean, if you were born in, if you were born after 9/11, or if you were born like in the late 90s, early 2000s, that period, this stuff, like the Patterson Gimlin footage, this was basically happened like 30 years before you were born, maybe. It was come and gone, and there was no internet back then. So there's a lot of this stuff with UFO. There is just not as much information. You did not have the readily available cell phones where people could just take a picture, like, of a cop beating or something like that. They didn't have it back then, and you couldn't hide it. Like now, there's stuff cops do, they fuck up, or other people fuck up, and they don't realize, because everybody's got a camera just about, that, it's real easy. Back then, if you were going to take a photo of somebody, in the 60s, you go back and look at what the size of those cameras were, it was pretty noticeable. You couldn't hide that shit. Same thing with cameras. Now you can get cameras that are pretty fucking small that'll take video. And you didn't have that back then. So, these guys had, a camera out there. And this thing, again, in my mind, looking at it, it did not look staged. Here's something that, whether it's a UFO, whether it's a Bigfoot, whether it's paranormal, if somebody's taking a picture and you see this thing going all over the fucking place, and that camera's dead on, it's keeping that thing in focus, in the center, that's an indication this thing might be fake. Maybe not, but to me, that's a hint that maybe you should be a little skeptical. Because if these people didn't know that it was going to be there, they didn't know the flight pattern that it was going to fly, even if they're keeping it in frame, it shouldn't be centered. There was a guy, First Amendment. I haven't seen anything new from him. I think he's either probably in jail now, or has quit doing it. I don't see any more video of him. But he called himself Blind Justice. And he might still be out there, but I don't usually go looking for these fucking morons. If they show up in my feed, then they show up in my feed. But he called himself Blind Justice, and my opinion, he was faking to be blind. Because in his early videos, and there were some videos that surfaced where he was basically saying he was blind, and he was entering like wakeboard contest or surfing contest or water skiing contest as a blind person. And there were other people that did, and they usually wiped out. He was supposedly blind, and and here's the thing: there was a discussion. This was a number of years ago, and they were talking about somebody blind driving or something like that, and they're like, wait a minute. They go, if you're blind, how can you drive? And I told them, I go, well, I had a grandfather like this. He was considered legal. Now, he never tried to pretend to be optically blind, but I had a grandfather on my mom's side that was legally blind. And so he couldn't get a license, but he got a license so he could drive into town to get groceries and get their medicine and stuff like that. But he couldn't go tooling around on the road. He could basically, if he needed to go to the doctor, et cetera, he could do that. And that's what this guy may have been legally blind, but he wasn't actually blind. Well, he was trying to act actually blind, like he's going around with his equipment. And the thing is, he did all these videos right at the start, and it wasn't just one or two. It was probably like 10 or 15 of them. And what he'd do is, as soon as the camera was on, he's blind. He was claiming that he could not see anything. But when he'd start walking, he'd fucking line right up with the door. And video after video, if he rolled up on double doors, he always hit one door in the same spot. If it was a single door, he always hit that single door in the same spot. Like literally, I think, again, I think you could have taken a tape measure out and you would have seen that his hand hit the door 4 inches from the handle on the same side of the handle, and then he would slide those 3 or 4 inches, and he wasn't searching for the handle. And he even got called out by a cop at a courthouse, because the guy goes, yeah, you're not blind. And he goes, well, how can you say that? He goes, I watched you in the parking lot when you didn't have your camera on. He goes, you seem to see just fine. I mean, and he was being told this, you seem to see just fine. And then right before you turned your camera on, you got out your crutch and all this other stuff. There was one picture, I think it was a mugshot, where when he was in the military, I really don't know what happened to him. And this could have maybe been a birth defect. I don't know. But they took one of his mugshots, and when you looked at his face from like the nose to his forehead, it really looked like someone repeatedly backed a army truck bumper into his fucking face. I'm not trying to be smart, but it was all swollen. Either something happened to him, or that was one fucking hell of a birthmark. That's all I'm gonna say. I really don't know, but he was always doing this shit, and that was the thing. Somebody even made a comment. They go, well, if you're blind, how come your camera's always dead center? And it was all these things, and so, it was the same thing. He was making these claims, but yet people were saying, like, and he would walk up to somebody and he's, oh, he walked up and he was talking to someone, and it was a sheriff's deputy. He goes, do you got a twin brother? And he goes, yeah, he works over at, he was another sheriff and he worked at another location. Well, again, if you're supposedly blind, just again, being honest, telling the truth is just generally the best way to run your life. It really is. But it's like, it's just little things like that he did. Well, it's the same thing with these UFO and these Bigfoot and these paranormal videos. If this shit just pops up, and I don't care if they're doing an investigation, et cetera, et cetera. If everything's popping up dead center, again, I'm not saying it is, but I'm thinking it's okay if everything is always popping up dead center of the camera, not off center, maybe at the edge. It doesn't have to be that way, but if you're watching this one show and every time they talk about it, or every time they have these pictures, everything's popping up dead center. Like that one I was just talking about, Expedition X, when they told that person, they had stationary cameras up all over, and those Polaroids they took. That one picture, the shadow was off in the fucking corner of the picture. When they did that one where they said, hey, we've got some equipment on the table, well, they had this stationary thing set up. Well, 1 minute it was off center on the one side, and then the next minute it was right on the edge of it, was the other hot spot that showed up in their little thermal camera. That's an indication that this might be real. You know, there was occasionally stuff that these guys would freak out about. There was nothing caught on camera, you know, because they didn't have a camera there. Again, this is an indication of either a well-disciplined hoax or something real. And it's the same way when you watch these guys like, oh my God, I can't believe we saw this. And it's like, yeah, it's dead center. It's always dead center. No matter how far it moves and how fast it moves, it's always... And some of those, it could be some kind of an app. Like they got these apps that'll put like a cat face on you while you're streaming. Well, apparently they've got one now that will add this shit so it looks like you've got UFOs and stuff. Well, again, if it's always dead center, if it's always in, you know, these are indications that maybe not. You could be a little skeptical on those. And but when you're talking about Bigfoot, the proof is out there's the best one I've seen on this. Because what they did was they took this old Patterson video from the 60s, and the guy that they hired, the camera guy, he got multiple copies of the tape. And what he did was he found that every one of them was damaged. Every video they got, like, there'd be certain pixels, and you could still watch it, but there were certain pixels that were, you know, fucked up, corrupted, whatever you want to call it. Well, he got like, I want to say it was like hundreds of copies, but it was at least like 10, 20, 30 copies. And then what he did was he put them into his computer, and the computer merged them all. And so like any of the pictures that had corrupted parts of the picture, they grabbed non-corrupted from the other ones. So when he got all done, he had almost a pristine copy of that movie. Then the other thing he did, because seriously, go watch, if you can, go watch the original. That fucking thing was all over. That was clearly not a well-staged hoax. It just wasn't. Well, what they did was they the computer centered Bigfoot. And then what it did was all the other shit moved at the edge. But now, for the first time that I had ever seen, what they had done on the Proof Is Out there, they had a stable feature. It wasn't jarred all over as this guy was trying to film it, because it didn't appear to be a hoax because he didn't have it set up on a stable pedestal so you could get it. It was basically, oh my God, what is that? And he grabbed the camera, and it was a big camera, and you know, he was not on level ground, so it was all over the fucking place. Well, this computer fixed that. And I've seen these before. And people look at it, and they came up with certain things like, well, yeah, that makes it look like a hoax, that makes it look like a hoax. And both of these guys, neither one of them really wanted the spotlight. One of the guys was kind of like Bob Lazar, and he ended up flipping his story before he died because he was tired of the attention. But when they stabilized this through the computer, and like I said, season 2, episode something or other on the Proof Is Out there, they brought in experts. They had somebody there who was an expert of special effects, like suits and other stuff back then. They had somebody that was an expert of primates. And, you know, they had a panel. And they looked at this video. All of their experts agreed that it looked real. Because you could finally see it clearly. And the thing they noticed was it didn't look like a suit, because the guy that was there, because you got to understand, this is the late 60s. He goes, if they were going to do this, it should have looked like Chewbacca in the first Star Wars movie, Episode 4. He goes, it should have just been like a carpet hanging. When it was stable, you could see the muscles moving under the fur. So the special effect guy, that does not look like special effects. He goes, we were real primitive back in the 60s. He goes, it's not like now, you know. And then the primate person is like, yeah, because at one point, because now it's stable, when the creature turned around, you could see nipples. You could see a butt crack. There were indications of primate anatomy. And the other thing was they looked at the way the foot was moving. And I can't do it justice, but it shouldn't take you that hard to find this with a little bit of searching on the internet. Primate feet are different than our feet. And the primate expert and the special effects expert, they're like, you know, because the guy, he's like, well, if they were doing that back then, they would have you would have had to have something like a boot, or they would have had to put something on your feet. And he goes, so we should either be seeing something that looks like a boot or a shoe, or we should see something that looks like, you know, a human foot with, you know, the costume on it. And it didn't look like a human foot. It did not look like a shoe. And I will say, from my experience at it, there appears to be real and unreal sightings of Bigfoot. And so, like, that's one thing you can do, and they can tell a little bit with the feet, with the footprints on the ground, if there's enough of it there. Because that's another thing they were talking about in one of these episodes that I recently saw. They were talking about the footprints. And the experts on simian biology or primate biology, they were looking at it, they go, well, that actually looks, I mean, it's really huge, but they go, that kind of looks like a primate footprint because of the way the primate foot reacts. Just like, you know, you got a human foot. If you watch like footprints made, you'd have medical experts go, well, yeah, that's clearly not a human footprint. That is a boot, or they've got something on a stick that they're pushing into the ground. And the experts on primate physics, they're like, this thing was heavy, because they were looking at how far the footprint sunk into the ground. Whatever this was, it was pretty fucking heavy to leave a footprint that deep in this kind of soil. And so these are things you can look for, because there are frauds out there, and there appear to be real ones. And then I can't remember who said this. There's this comedian, I think it was his podcast. There's this comedian that I saw, and I'm not even going to, he's pretty filthy. I'm not going to repeat it. I'm not offended, but it's not my thing, and I'm not going to repeat it. But let's just say it was really filthy. And but he does this podcast, and he was doing one, I think it was him. And one of the people on it's kind of like a poor man's version of, there was this show on Comedy Central. I think it was Colin Quinn was the guy that hosted it. But he had this show where it was just like him and a handful of comedians talking about shit. And I want to say this is kind of like a poor man's version of that. Because I don't know if they're his friends or fellow comedians. I don't know who these guys are. I barely know who this guy is. And one of his stands-up, he had this really attractive, slightly, probably my age, maybe not even my age, but had this really, and I think it was down in Texas, and had this really attractive woman there, and she was there with this younger guy, and he goes, man, you're really looking good. He goes, is this your date? And he was all dressed up, she was all dressed up. She goes, no, it's my son. And he looked at her, he goes, you're not helping yourself. He goes, we've heard stories about you people down south, and then you're coming here all dressed up with your son. You're really not helping the rumors or whatever. And he was funny. Well, anyways, he did this podcast, and I think I think I watched more than one. I think I watched two of them, maybe more. I would say he's probably not as good as Joe Rogan, and nobody is. Joe Rogan's got a pretty good show. He's wrong on a lot of shit. I think his brain is becoming damaged from all the DMT he's doing, but he's got a great show. He's really got a great show. And one of the guys I think on his show, because they had uh, Hancock. He's a journalist that has really dug into Atlantis and these megalithic. Graham Hancock, I think the guy's name is. Well, I think he had him on, but it was one of his friends that's on there. One of them got talking about Bigfoot and how nobody's found anything, and he goes, I'm hearing stories, and he goes, and I really don't know, but he goes, I'm hearing stories that these UFO sightings sometimes coordinate with UFO sightings and Bigfoot. And he said, I got a really weird idea. And he goes, I have no idea if I'll ever be able to find out if it's true or not. But he goes, what if these UFOs are connected with Bigfoot? Because he goes, I got a dog. And he goes, people know I got a dog, but they only see the dog when I'm out with them. Like when I take them to the park or when I'm walking them. He goes, what if these Bigfoots are kind of like pets or companions to the UFOs? And we only see them when the UFOs drop them off so they can take a shit, take a piss, and grab some food. Or, fuck something. And I'm like, you know what? Might not be the craziest thing that anybody's ever come up with, but that could be a real good experience or explanation. And then this was on that Jack Osborne one. They were talking to the primate expert because she's worked with gorillas or whatever for like 20 years, and she was really attractive too. And she's mentioned that like if you're out in the woods, there can be gorillas there and you won't notice them. They're really good. She goes, gorillas and other primates are really good at hiding in a jungle. So she goes, in the jungle, in the woods where these things are somewhat being seen. And then she admitted that, she's worked with primates for like, 20 years or more. And she got involved, somebody like kind of like what they were doing. They asked for her expertise on Bigfoot, and she went with them. She goes, I have worked around primates for 20 years. And she goes, I have never felt this way. She goes, when I went with them on this Bigfoot thing, she goes, I felt like I was being watched. I felt like I was being stalked. And she goes, I've never felt that way around primates. Never. Not in all the years I've been with it. And she was a little freaked out. So she goes, I don't know if we're going to know what it is or we'll ever get evidence. She goes, I think there's something to it, because she goes, I've never felt like that. Hi there, sweetie. I'm about ready to end my stream. If it's time to eat, I'll come get you something to eat. Even if it's a little early, I might do it. But and then the other thing, and this is coming from Jack Osborne, where he was talking to Jason Mewes about the Bigfoots, I think at the beginning, because they were talking about the different footage and stuff that was out there. And this was something I think Mewes said, if I understood him. And he's like me. He's not, he's just a guy doing this, because his buddy asked him or whatever. He's not like a professional news person or whatever. And so I might have misunderstood him, but if I was understanding him right, he said that, he's always been a little skeptical, but the reason why he's not as skeptical anymore, and I got to say, I thought this was a pretty reasonable thought process, is the fact that they haven't come up with anything. And then Jack Osborne jumped and he said, yeah, he goes, all these people, they'll tell you, well, it's not Bigfoot. Well, then tell me what it is. Show me proof of what it is. And, but again, when he did that, it's like, oh my God, he has not seen the refurbished Patterson video, because that one, I'm not kidding you. If you can go find that clip on YouTube and watch it, I think all doubt's gone. I think that's a legitimate thing. Well, I want to thank everybody that checks this out now and later. I thought this was a really good stream. I gotta pee. Oh, it's like an hour early. The cat's wanting food. I gotta pee. I'm gonna go ahead and let the stream go. This stream actually felt pretty good today. I've had several days where I was just kind of out of it, off and on, and this one actually felt pretty good. Hope everybody had a good stream. If you want to help out, if you're watching this on Twitch, go ahead and hit that follow button. And if you're watching this on YouTube, maybe leave a comment. Spank the shit out of that like button. Hit the notification bell so you know when I'm uploading new videos. Peace out, and I hope everybody has a great day.